It's always better to know exactly where you're at with your sexual health and how to keep yourself in the clear. To help make that process a whole lot easier, GaySA Radio is here to lend a helping hand. So, in the studio tonight, we have a special guest to answer a few questions about smoking. Welcome to the Steam Room.
I'm chatting to Arno Stadler from the SA Institute of Hypnotism. Good day to you, Arno.
Good day, Ray.
So please let us know, what exactly is hypnotherapy?
Ray, you know what? The best way for me to explain that would maybe just be to look at what does hypnotherapy work with. So first off, I just want to mention that we are moving away from the word hypnotherapy, just because the word therapy seems to, have that, bring up that image of sitting in a chair, with a counselor or something like that. So with non-medical hypnosis practices, we do not diagnose or give advice or counsel. So I've been gradually over the years moving towards calling it non-medical hypnosis practices. And what it does, it works with the mind, obviously. And we all have these two parts, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And this is a model that was popularized by Dr. Freud. And we'll stick to it as long as it works, but it's a beautiful model. And what this does, if you go into it, the conscious mind, that's the part you're talking to me now with. That's the part that is more adult. And according to this one psychologist, Miller, it can do 5 to 9 things in any given moment in time. So that's what we call conscious capacity. On the other hand, the subconscious mind can do millions of things per second. It's a very, very powerful part each and every one of us has. And here's the thing. Sometimes or often when we have problems in life, it's because we have internal conflict. Now, like on television, like with the cartoons, they sometimes have a little devil on the one shoulder and a little angel on the other shoulder, right? Yeah. So with the smoker, for instance, there's one part that says, look, it's bad for your health, you should stop doing that, and many, many reasons why a person shouldn't do that, and that could be the little angel, right? And then on the other hand, the person just feels, you know what, I need a cigarette. So there's a lot of internal conflict that comes from that. So that is what hypnosis practices does. We work with the subconscious mind. So our primary aim is to have a conscious, subconscious alignment, if that makes sense to you.
Absolutely.
So in other words, a person comes to me and they want to stop smoking consciously. The adult part wants to, but obviously something is not right, because else they would have already stopped, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is that there's another part, the subconscious mind, that's holding on to that habit. Maybe the smoker feels that, for the last 20, 30, 40 years, the cigarettes has always been there, right? Like it's their friends, and can't be without, or maybe using it as a coping mechanism for stress, or maybe, to keep their hands busy, or whatever other reason the inner child or powerful subconscious mind is holding on to it. And that's the primary aim of hypnosis practices, is just to get that conscious, subconscious alignment, so that all the parts of who you are wants the same thing. And this instance of stop smoking is obviously to be free from the smoking habit.
Talking just about smoking as being one of the internal conflicts that we go through, what other issues does non-medical hypnosis help to treat?
Well, right, everything and anything you can imagine. The list is so long. You can look at the, stress, anxiety, anger, the whole range of those conditions, and then also maybe motivation to help with procrastination. Maybe if there's certain habits you want to cultivate, like going to the gym more often, or being nicer to the kids, or, maybe not being so angry on the roads, or maybe even just experiencing more joy in your life and being just getting more fulfillment, or even, maybe changing your outlook a little bit. maybe more confidence, high self-esteem. The list goes on and on. Sports enhancement, just about anything you can imagine. Hypnosis can help you make it better.
Now, Arno, in the beginning, you shared with me that we are moving from the word hypnotherapy to non-medical hypnosis because of some misconceptions. What are some misconceptions that are linked to hypnosis?
Sure, right. There's so many, and I think it's mostly because of television, movies, and so often we find that on TV, if they can't explain something, they call it hypnosis. So we have this, yes. So we have this problem that there seems to be a fear around what we call the H word, which is hypnosis, obviously, just because people fear that they might lose control. And this is not true. You see, unfortunately, because also the stage hypnotist often contributes to this, where people are doing funny things like running around like chickens and, weird stuff on the stage. And then people think that it looks like those participants are being controlled and they're doing something against their will. And it's not true at all. With hypnosis, you are always in control, and you will never do anything or say anything you don't want to say or do. And you'll remember everything afterwards that's important to you.
Yeah. All right. So I think it's very, very important that you actually mentioned that, but then who can practice hypnosis? Do you have to be trained, or can anyone just wake up and say, no, I want to do hypnotherapy today?
No. There's some training involved. There's a lot of training involved. Yes, you can definitely, if you want to know more about the training, maybe go to the website, the South African Institute of Hypnotism's website, and look at the courses, and there's a whole range of courses. And then obviously there's also what we call specializations and speciality courses. So at the moment, we're talking about stop smoking, which falls under compulsive behavior. And in order for a person to be able to facilitate stop smoking from the institute side, it's a minimum training, I'd say close to about, if you do intensive training, probably go towards a year of training, 9 months to a year. And it's probably in the region of about 8 or 9 courses that you need to attend, and then pass the requirements, the case studies, and everything that goes along with that, with the necessary assessments, and then being approved by an international association. We accredited by associations called the IMDHA, which stands for International Medical Dental Hypnotherapy Association. So it also means that these qualifications then have an international certification. And above and beyond that, also the additional things like Genesis approval. So if you go on the SAR website and you look at our therapists, the stop smoking, most of those stop smoking qualified facilitators are also Genesis approved. So yes, it's not just waking up or reading a book, and then you can facilitate. It's a bit of it's actually intensive training.
All right. Thank you so much, Arno, for sharing with me exactly what non-medical hypnosis is. And we touched a lot on smoking. And if maybe you can give me a glimpse or a short step-by-step in detail, how do you use hypnosis to help people to stop smoking?
Right. So, the very first step for anybody, or let me say somebody phones me and says, I want to stop smoking. Mm-hmm. The first thing I want to find out, is the person really committed? Mm-hmm. Right? Because here's the thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people have all these pressures, family, maybe friends, maybe society, their work, whatever. And we know by now, society actually in a big way frowns upon smoking, right? These days, you're not allowed to smoke anywhere. And often when restaurants have smoking areas, it's like they don't even clean them. It smells terrible. Yeah. So it's almost like society is, what's the right word? But almost, rejecting or the smoker. And because of that, there's a lot of social and other pressures. And because of that, I'll often have somebody phone me and say, I want to stop smoking. And then when I ask a few questions, are you ready? Are you ready to make this change in your life? I often find that people are not really ready, that they are more being pushed by, family or whoever else to make this change, and they don't really want to stop.
More
right?
pressures.
Yes. And often smoking is actually a rebellious behavior against these pressures. So if you think about it, these pressures will actually make a person smoke more, right? So, and I won't work with a person unless they're ready. So we talk about it, and then I say, you know what? When you are ready, when you've come to this point, I want to work with somebody when they feel they're almost tired of the smoking habit, because let's face it, it's very rarely that people smoke because of the taste. It tastes awful. If you ask most smokers, they say if it was just the taste, they wouldn't touch the stuff. But there are other reasons, There are underlying reasons why people hold on to the smoking habit. So first off, my very first step is to make sure, are you ready? Are you committed to make this change? Because with hypnosis, we cannot make up your mind for you. We can only take a decision that you've already made and make it stronger. So if you have made this decision and you feel committed and you feel ready, you only need a bit of help to transition from, from the habit to be free, then I can definitely help. So that's the first thing. Then once we've done that, we set up an appointment. And you come through, and this process, it's my process, but you will find it's generally the same with all the hypnosis facilitators from the Institute, or very similar. And then we set up an appointment, and before you come through, I normally give you some homework. And the homework is generally just to really examine the smoking habit. And that is, when you smoke on purpose. Right? So you will find often the smoker, it's an automatic response. They light up without thinking. Sometimes they smoke a cigarette or a bunch of cigarettes, and they're not even really aware or present with the fact they're smoking. It's just so habitual, it happens automatically. And now, if we really focus on it, and you hold it in your hand, and you notice how you hold it, and you taste it on purpose, and you feel what it feels like to inhale the smoke, and you become very, very aware of the smoking habit and the process, you will find that often people realize, but they don't like this. It's actually not something nice. It's not just an automatic behavior to keep the hands busy or whatever. Or often it's an excuse for a break, right? So you're sitting in the office, and now you just want to get out. You maybe just want to, it's an excuse to go outside 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, maybe talk. Often also to socialize, right? Yeah. There's an interesting phenomenon. I don't know if you've ever been to a funeral, and everybody is so serious, and it's just, and then a lot of people don't even know each other. And then the next moment the smokers are outside, and they're smoking, and they're chatting, and they're socializing. Yeah, it's a club. Yeah, right. It's like they can relate. The smoking is a bond, and this is various reasons why people hold on to the smoking habit. And then when you come in, we normally go through first finding out when did it start and why did you start. And I can tell you, most people started because of peer pressure. Years ago in school or wherever, it was cool or the in thing or whatever you want to call it. But now, 20 years later or whatever, people often find that, it's no longer that. No longer gives them confidence. It's no longer something that they feel makes them feel special in any way. For a lot of people, and that's this kind of smoker I love working with, it's like they feel it stinks. It's their clothes, their breath. It even affects their taste. And what I really enjoy working with somebody when they're at a point where they realize they are not in control. The cigarettes are in control, because the cigarettes are taking away their power to choose to be free, right? Because what happens, ask a smoker on a Friday night or whenever that runs out of cigarettes, they go frantic. They jump in the car and get to the nearest shop where they can get the stuff. Right? It's literally can't be without it. They don't have it, they get anxious. And that to me tells you that they are not in control of that aspect of their life.
Thank you so much, Arno. That was Arno Stadler from the South African Institute of Hypnotism. Please do continue streaming to the Steam Room to hear more from him. This is, of course, GaySA Radio, where you are family.
Thank you so much to our guest tonight and for clearing up the subject and clearing out the smoke a bit. I'm Max, and you're listening to the Steam Room here on GaySA Radio, where you are family.